I'd like to welcome everybody to the Addison Township Planning Commission meeting tonight. We'll start off like we always do. If you'd stand, we pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, if you could do a roll call, please.
Okay, Jean Laward.
Here.
Vice Chair Beans.
Here.
Secretary Semp, present. Linda Garrick.
Present.
Jennifer Lundy.
Here.
Lauren Smith. Present. Yes, you are. Joel King. Absent.
Okay.
All here. More than.
Okay. Any announcements or correspondence from anyone? Nope. Hearing none, we'll move on to the order of business. The order of business is the approval of last month's agenda.
2 minutes.
I'm sorry.
I move we approve the minutes from last meeting.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sorry, I'm a little out of order here. We can approve the agenda for tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay.
Seconded.
We
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the first order of business is approval of the March 14th, 2023 meeting minutes.
I move we approve them.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do I hear any, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, our next order of business is site plan review for Copper Hills Clubhouse and Storage Facility. Wright Development, Donna Wright, 2125 Lakeville Road, Oxford. Parcel number 05292000005. Do we have a representative here for Wright Development?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
Heidi Karakashian.
Can you step to the podium,
Sure.
please, and state your name for the record?
I'm Heidi Karakashian. I'm here on behalf of Copper Hills.
Okay. If you want to tell us a little bit about your
Sure.
site plan here?
Yeah, thank you for allowing this meeting, first off. Many of you might know my late father, Curtis Wright. I'm running the course from here forward, and I'm also the one spearheading the build of the clubhouse. I know it's been a long time coming, it's way overdue, and this was my dad's dream. I would like to finish his dream with my own twist. So my vision is that I want this to be just a seasonal business. I don't want to expand the business into a huge overtaking that is not in line with my family and children and my values. So what I want to do right now is keep it seasonal, keep it closed through the winter. I would not like to intensify the use, but I want to make a modest clubhouse with making it nicer for the community, nicer for the golfers, providing a viable business for myself and my family. I see it kind of, the building itself, blending a little bit more with nature, making it, thinking that this is an agricultural district, making nature, environment, keeping it kind of cohesive. And the reality is, for the business that my dad started, it's not the same business today that it was 25 years ago. Obviously golf dropped off, lots of people stopped golfing. Recently, since COVID, it started to pick up. So the business model from before has had to change. So I need to be really prudent in my build. I want it to be viable. There's a lot of uncertainty in the economy, uncertainty in the market right now. Building costs are through the roof. Nobody will give me a quote that's longer than 2 weeks. So I want to do the best that I can with the resources that I have available. So along with that, I want to fulfill the consent judgment. So I'm seeking site plan approval with a gravel parking area, knowing that it's going to be conditional upon PA's review that we would be completing 1 through 17 of that review. I'm also seeking a seasonal event permit and possibly a phased building for our cart barn, depending on what my prices come back at. If I can afford to do it all at the same time, I will. If not, I would have to build that cart barn at a later date. So thank you for hearing me. And do you guys have any questions?
No, it's not for questions. You get to make your statement.
Okay. All right.
If that's all you have,
Yep, that's right. I have one thing from the road commission. Can I present and give this to you?
you can bring that up to the secretary.
Okay. I made a copy, I think, for everyone.
I'll take it.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, at this time, turn the meeting over to Rand Bowman, our planner.
Thank you. You have in your agenda packet a review from our township engineer dated March 28, 2023. It identifies a number of zoning ordinance deficiencies. You also have a resolution from the township board dated March 20, which says the planning commission should apply the ordinances during its site plan review process. I would defer to the planning commission, yield the floor at this time to any planning commissioner who does have a question based upon the presentation that they just heard. Then I reserve the right to retrieve the floor after those questions are answered.
Any question from the board? Linda?
Yeah, the applicant mentioned that they were compliant or would be complying with PEA's review items 1 through 17. I just wondered on the balance of the items, what that involves. Maybe Matt could answer that. After 17, there's a performance agreement. There's like a total of 25 items.
Oh, no, to kind of answer your question, what I do in the letter is I refer to section 2904, which is the site plan review requirements, and I go through and list all of them, you know, basically in order and indicate what has been provided for each one. So on the page 9, at the bottom of page 9 is where I indicate the beginning of the outstanding items that would need to be addressed by the applicant. And it starts at 1 and it actually ends at number 16. So the one thing I will clarify on my letter is before those items, I indicated that therefore we recommend the following items be satisfactorily addressed prior to consideration by the Township Planning Commission. But because of the recent township board meeting where a motion was passed and then it was decided to bring it before the planning commission, I forgot to change that statement in my letter. So if I was to provide an updated statement regarding that, it would actually be that the applicant would have to address these items before planning commission approval, not before consideration by the planning commission.
So I guess I'm confused about the applicant's reference to complying with 17 items on this review.
It might be just that she was thinking 17 when actuality it's 16. So.
I understand, and I'll address that when I assume the floor after the other questions have been asked.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions concerning the letter from the fire department. A couple of things that are outstanding. It was a little confusing when I read the occupancy definition here, or the classification. There's going to be like a permanent building and another section, like if you open up the windows, then the room gets expanded and has more seating capacity.
It's like outdoor covered seating.
Right, which is all under one roof.
Yes. So
Okay.
with that combined, I think the total seating was somewhere around 87 people.
It's got to be over
Okay, is that what you're saying on the record? It'll never be over 100?
It will not be over 100, no.
Okay,
And so my architect is delayed in traffic. He should be here to do, if you needed a presentation from him. But
Okay.
it was always intended to be less than 100 people.
okay. Because the definition for the fire suppression system,
Is over 5,000 square feet or
Right,
over 100
over
people.
100 people.
And we'll be under both.
correct?
But
Alright.
it says it will exceed 100 with employees.
No, we will not.
It will not?
Will not. No, I think the seating is around in the 80s. This is a proposed floor plan, so the interior is not set in stone with this. The one that it's on there saying proposed. He's going to design this after. So it will be designed under 100 people, including employees.
Well, I'm confused now. You're talking proposed, or are we talking about a site approval here?
We're talking about site approval. I still have to do construction drawings.
Okay. All right.
But the actual floor plan itself will be under 100 with employees
Okay.
and under,
Well, that's
So
that's
for
not
the
what the
record-
wording is there, that's why. I had another question.
Sure.
The dry hydrant, it has been moved so the fire department could get to it? Because that was a complaint.
yes, can I bring up my engineer? Jim?
Sure. So moved.
Okay.
That was my second question.
Okay. And they were asking me about, I'm sorry, this is my architect here, this is Roman. He, the design based on under 100 occupants, including employees, and
Absolutely.
it's not, he's saying it's not worded. Is it not worded that way from the fire department or from our,
Fire department.
yeah, I was assuming that there was something wrong with
What you
his
had on
review.
the plan is not acceptable. Can't be accessed, the dry hydrant.
The
Okay.
dry hydrant.
The
Right.
dry hydrant, correct.
Right, we've had moved those since then, so
Right.
the new review has that.
Okay.
The other question I have is the location of the tank, of the flammable,
Of the gas,
correct? Is that something that's been
That,
revised?
that would be relocated to meet fire department's approval.
and to add to that, I'm also going to be pricing out electric carts, which would eliminate gas. I have 2 years left of this lease on these carts, so in 2 years, I might be looking to go to electric.
Okay. The last question I have is, you would not be opposed to a phased approach to your whole project? Is that what you're saying?
I may need a phased approach depending on what, after I have my construction drawings finished and put out for bid, seeing what it comes back at. I have a limited amount of resources. The golf course has some debt on it already. I'm going to be borrowing from my house and borrowing from some friends, family.
Okay.
And depending on what this build comes back at, I may need a phased approach. So the phased approach of what I'm thinking is the phase for the cart barn. That I will put the pad down, put the screening from the street, but actually like enclosing that cart barn might have to come at a later date, depending on the costs coming in. I'd like to finish it all at once, but if my money doesn't allow for it, then that would be the first thing to get pushed through.
The last question I have, and it may be someone that you brought along can address this.
Mhm.
The parking lot not being paved and being close to Lakeville Road, a certain amount of dust would come off that, especially when a lot of vehicles come in and out for golfing, or if you have an event going on there. Has the county road commission been involved in doing a study, the impact of dust on the road?
The road commission is not, but it's been a gravel lot for 25 years and has never been an issue. However, moving forward to comply with dust-free, I can water that lot every morning to keep the dust down. I can use chloride that you do on streets, although I don't think chloride's very environmentally friendly. I've looked at other options that would be more environmentally friendly that they have coming here in the future, but I don't have anything specific besides where we could water it every day or chloride, which I would like to get away from chloride. I don't think, no one is going into this lot driving at like 40 miles an hour that you would see on a dirt road to create that dirt. They're coming in kind of slow, parking, sitting for 5 hours, maybe 6 hours, and then leaving. So I don't see it as getting a lot of high, fast traffic to create dust.
Okay.
But I'm willing to come into an agreement with the board of any solutions that we could do for that, if, you know, maintaining it, watering it, sodium chloride, or other environmentally friendly options that might be available.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none. Mr. Bowman?
That concludes the presentation portion by the applicant and the applicant's representative. The board will now deliberate the matter. We ask that we not be interrupted during the deliberations. The township engineer has issued his report indicating that the site plan as proposed does not meet the ordinance requirements. Is there a consensus among the planning commission that that is the case?
Would you like a vote on that?
Just
Oral vote?
just a raise of hands if that is consensus.
The consensus is that it's not.
That it does not meet the ordinance.
So you raise your hand.
Okay, with that consensus, a motion is in order so that we have something to discuss, to recommend denial of the site plan for its failure to meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
I hear a motion. Denial?
But once a motion is on the table, are we no longer discussing the,
We have to have a motion first, then.
but if we have a motion and we have a second,
We're gonna have-
then we no longer are discussing.
We have discussion after the motion.
It's a frequent practice of bodies to discuss something before there's a motion on the floor. We need a motion on the floor so we have something to discuss.
Well, I can make a motion.
A second.
I have to make a motion first. The development of this property is subject of a consent judgment that runs with the property. The consent judgment settled circuit court litigation and provided the property owner with guidance on the allowed site development. Because the township board manages township litigation, our township attorney advised that the latest development application go to the township board for consideration before any review by the planning commission. That happened on March 20th, 2023. Following a closed session, the township made a motion to provide guidance to the applicant in this planning commission. I am adopting that motion by the township board by reference. Based on this, I make a motion to set this matter aside until the following is in place. That we have a site plan that is consistent with the motion of the township board as made and unanimously approved on Monday, March 20th, 2023. And that the applicant make contact with the County Road Commission to determine what roadway actions are required and present those to this planning commission. And that the applicant, to the extent desired, propose any phasing related to any part of the development. Regardless of any phasing, the site plan submittal must include the proposed development as a whole in a manner that complies with the applicable ordinances and which addresses the existing reviews.
Okay, you hear the motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Clarification, a motion to set aside, is that a motion to table?
I would table, a motion to table,
A
yes.
motion to table is not open for discussion, we simply vote on it, yes or no. A yes vote is to table the matter as specified in the motion. Use the word set aside, but that means table.
Thank you, yes, that's what I meant.
So a vote of yes is to table the matter.
Do you want me to do the roll call on the vote?
Well, I have a reluctance to table things. Seem to carry on, and I think if we give them, if there's an approval or denial, then I think they have a direction to go in. I'm not sure if we're doing that with tabling the motion. Because I think My personal view on this is that just, we're kind of going backwards on. We usually get the site plan and what is required in the site plan.
That's what we're asking.
Well, on this here, we're asking to kind of approve something, and then they'll do the site plan. And I think we gotta, I don't know, in my view, we're just going at it backwards. I just as soon have an approval or a denial. As far as we can have discussion on it, because we deny it doesn't mean we have to vote in favor of the denial. After discussion, we could take a vote, and if people don't feel that way, they can vote against the denial. Is that correct, Mr. Wong?
You've correctly stated the situation.
Mr. Glover, can I?
We have closed, however, the discussion to the public. We're now deliberating, and we ask folks to not interfere with our deliberations. There is a motion that has been supported that in effect would table the motion. We need to call for the question on that. The tabling motion will either succeed or fail, and then we'll move on from there.
Well, I think all we need then is an oral vote on the motion that's made. Is that correct?
That'll work.
Okay.
Those in favor of tabling?
Okay. Those in favor of tabling the motion, or or raise your hand.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we move on. We need another motion.
Because the site plan does not meet the ordinance requirements as specified in the engineer's review, in corroboration with the township planner, I believe it's our obligation to recommend denial. It'll be up to the township board as to what they wish to do with that recommendation.
Okay, do I hear a motion on that?
Well, I'll make the motion. I don't know if I get the wording right, but we're denying this.
Motion be to recommend denial based upon the lack of zoning ordinance compliance as specified in the engineer's review of March
20th,
Yes.
or the letter from
28th, 2023.
Right. Yep, that, I would agree with the definition of that.
We have a motion.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Now there's something to discuss.
Any comments from the board? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Okay.
A vote of yes is to recommend denial.
Correct. Linda Garrett,
Yes.
Jennifer Lundy,
Yes.
Lawrence Smith,
Yes.
Joel King,
Yes.
Secretary Senft, yes. Vice Chair Bean,
Yes.
and Chair Lamarck.
Yes.
Yes, have it.
This recommendation will go on to the township board at its standard procedure. That concludes, I believe, this consideration of the matter. The next item is public forum, which invites an opportunity for any comment on this or any other matter.
Any comments from the public?
May I
Step.
speak?
Step up to the podium, please.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with how this proceeding works, but I think the reason and the intent of us being here were to get approval for a gravel lot. Then we'll proceed with the expense of the rest of the 17 items that were listed, which are basically the final engineering, our final design, the architecture, and apply for building permits, which it seems that the board wants everything in advance. And we just need to know financially, can we do this with a gravel lot? It seems to meet your ordinance. In my lawyer's opinion, it seems to be more environmentally friendly. It seems to be more with an agricultural district, and it will get the project done without delays, without going on and on for years with this.
Is that it? We're here to listen. You may not get an answer tonight, so we can deliberate on that for a month, but it's not necessary that anybody answer tonight.
Okay, well, that was my main intent of coming here. I know the other items have to be done, and I'm fully able to do them and will do them. I just need to know if it can be with the gravel. With the gravel lot, with it being paved, it's out of my budget.
Okay. Sir?
Yeah, my name's John Fredericks. I live on the southwest corner of the development. I'm not in the development, but my house borders the community septic field that they put in there 23 years ago that was supposed to be a temporary field. And somebody from the company here sent out an email that said they agree that they will hook that temporary field into the sewage treatment plant at some point. I went through this for 23 years. They're gonna hook it up, but they don't have the money. So now all of a sudden they have the money to build the clubhouse, but they still have 16 houses on a temporary septic field that borders my property. And the septic field is not maintained, as far as I know. I live right next to it. And my concern is that someday this thing's gonna boil over and it's gonna be next to my pool. And I mean, I've come in here, I have the paper right here where Lawrence agreed that Curtis Wright would hook the houses in the 16 temporary field onto the sewage treatment plant once he got the 16th house built. And now, you know, I went to the meetings with Bruce, well, what can we do? They don't have any money and everything. Suddenly they got money to build this clubhouse. They don't have money to connect the sewage treatment plant to the 16 existing houses. They don't have money to put in the monitoring wells that they were supposed to put in the back to make sure no nitrates or sewage was going into our aquifer. That never happened. It's just, you know, they went down the list, well, we're going to build a real nice clubhouse. Well, we don't have the money. We'll wait 23 years. We'll put temporary building in. Who has temporary buildings for 23 years as a bar? It's impossible. It's against the Liquor Control Commission. So those trailers are set out there, which I'm glad they're trying to get rid of. But my other concern is, where is this wastewater from this bar restaurant going to go? Is it going to go to the sewage treatment plant? Are they going to build another septic system in there? What's going to happen to it? So if anybody wants to read this, I got it right here where Lawrence Smith agreed with Curtis Wright. Once the 16th house was built, the next house, he wasn't going to get a permit in there until they were all connected to the sewage treatment plant. And for years it's went on that they don't have the money. Well, they got the money now. I'd rather see the darn thing hooked onto the sewage treatment plant than have this stuff blow out in my backyard after 23 years of a temporary field. And if anybody's interested, I had the minutes of the meeting, which Lawrence presided over. He was the president at that time. And if anybody's interested, I got it. Would you like to see it?
No, sir.
Okay.
You can submit-
Thank you.
Can we submit that into the record here? If you want to leave that copy with us?
You can keep the, we can take that.
We can take the copy if you like to, and we'll put it in the record.
We'll put it on the record that you.
I don't have a copy. You know what? I was so pressed for time, I can let you read it, but could you
Hey,
give me?
Dana?
So you
Dana,
need a copy of
do you need
that.
a copy of that then? Hey,
Can I?
Dana, can you drop a copy off? at
Yes, I
Township
can.
tomorrow?
Yes,
That'd be
I will.
fine.
Bring a copy up. We'll put it
Okay.
in the record.
Yeah,
I'll
that'd
see
be
you.
fine.
I said bring a copy up, we'll get, for us, and we'll put it in our
Yeah,
packet.
I was just pressed for time, I didn't get time to.
Okay.
Hey, Dana,
Thank you.
I can scan that and send it up to the clerk's office. Hi, I'm Rob Gazanik, I'm Dana's neighbor. As he stated, for 23 years, we've been waiting for that community septic field to be passed on to the sewage treatment plant. I'm looking, you know, I would love to see a new clubhouse, but not until the consent agreement is filled. And that includes, my biggest gripe is the 2 test wells that were never built, never put in. They should have been monitoring the well, the groundwater for 3 years, and then every 2 years after that, we've never seen that. So we don't know what the heck's in our water. We've asked the county, or I actually went to the county health department to see the plans for the sewage treatment, or for the septic field. They have nothing on file. Nothing on file is approved for that sewage or that septic field. They couldn't find a damn thing. They spent 4 months looking for it. They came back to me with the old adage, well, we got an approval slip. Well, what's an approval slip doing in a file if that's all they have when it should have been left on site? So that whole septic field is in question as well. Now I'm looking at these plans here, and I see 26 LED lights on it. Are we gonna make this corner look like it's the Meyer parking lot again? We're in a rural area. We like our, being able to see the stars at night. Having this much light, I mean, last time I checked, no one's playing golf at dark, at night. There's no need to have all those parking lot lights as well. So, let's make sure the consent agreement is met before any improvements are done on the facilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you need a copy of the consent agreement or any of the ZBA documents, I got the entire file I can email you.
Any other comments from the public? Hearing none? Move on. Any commissioner reports?
No.
I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.